BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello. Welcome, one and all, to episode 521 of BRB UK. The holidays are upon us. Christmas is coming home, but football got a bit lost. And we're going to get it in the sales on Boxing Day. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's better for everyone else concerned. What a lovely way to get Christmas cheer into all of our veins by having a World Cup. It's a stupid time of year to have a World Cup anyway.
Yeah,
for those of you who don't know, we're recording our Christmas shows a little early. And we are recording hot on the heels, peeking behind the curtains of England's glorious defeat to the French yesterday.
Yeah.
So if we're salty about football, that's why. I only pay attention to football once every 2 years when there's a big tournament. So
bloody
I'm just
penalties.
Sad that all referees.
I mean,
Yeah.
They gave 2 out of the 3 penalties, so we can't complain too much. We only scored 1 out of the 2.
Yeah, well, they gave the second one bloody reluctantly, didn't they? It's like, how long do I need to watch this video of him like practically clotheslining?
But I was literally just screaming at Harry Kane to just go straight down the middle. That's all you had to do. Just kick it straight down the middle of the goal. It's really easy. Just do that. Did not do that. Did
Tim.
not do that.
Armchair football genius.
Yeah.
But there's Coleman. He likes armchairs too, don't you, Coleman?
Salut! Ça va ill.
Ça va il? Où est la plage?
No,
La plage.
no,
Si,
Mr. Muscle,
si.
not pledge.
You're a pledge. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, football. Yeah, we can forget about the World Cup. Now we can focus on the Emirates Cup. Yeah.
I did actually check out tickets the other day for that. Like, they're not on sale yet. I think they go on sale next Monday. So I'm going to try and look out for them tomorrow, hopefully. So we'll see.
Tim's was the first to jump in and go, we should go see this together. You are one of, I think now 5 different Spurs fans I've got for friends that have gone, do you want to come see Spurs in Portsmouth? I'm already spoken for, my friend.
Although, yeah, you have to do a good job of disguising yourself as a home fan. Because, last time I was there, I was sitting with a Newcastle fan as another Newcastle fan got kicked out for cheering on Newcastle. I was like, you shush. But yeah.
What a friendly game football is.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Right. Love it. We're going to talk. We're going to get things going with our holiday shows by talking about what is the best way to put this? I mean, the show's title is Worst of 2022.
Yeah,
but
and that's
is it just things we want to have a grumble about?
Basically, so the kind of format we fell into the last couple of years is we do one show about any games that we just didn't get to talk about, got pushed back for time or whatever, and we had stockpiled, but we didn't have that many to do this year. And then we'd do like a game of the year and what we're looking forward to the following year, and then a Great British Debate or something like that. And this year we were getting a lot of questions about what are the games we don't like this year, the worst of 2022. So I thought, hey, we'll switch out our backlog and talk about the worst games of 2022. And initially I had a few ideas for this. I thought we'd go through Metacritic and see what reviewed the worst, and then go, we'll give our opinions on those. And then after looking at like the top 10 worst reviewed games on Metacritic, we've played none of them. So that's not really something that was viable to us.
Yep.
Then I thought we could just talk about the worst games we played in general, which then looking through 2020, I don't know about you guys, but when a game is reviewing pretty badly, I tend not to pick it up anyway. So
yeah,
even
if
it's
like
played that many bad games.
Or we wait for Tim to buy it, call it an investment, and then we just spend a whole show vamping on that, and it's fine. We get our amusement from it that way.
That's the other thing I was going to say, though. A lot of the time, like, some of the games coming out and getting reviewed are on Game Pass, or we've got access to play through PlayStation Plus, or you guys got Epic Game Store on top of that and stuff as well. But like, it's not just the investment of money, it's the investment of time a lot of the time as well. So if a game gets really panned and not so interesting, tend to not pick it up as much. You talked about picking up Horizon, and I would keep on going to say Zero Dawn, but Horizon Forbidden West recently and stuff like that. And
yeah, great game.
I think that could have possibly got on the my most disappointing in terms of not a terrible game, but a game that didn't live up to the expectations. But I had my expectations lowered so much that I just never got round to picking it up, basically. So
No, I was just going to say that is on one of my ones to watch from last year. So do we just
Yeah.
want to
Oh,
discuss that
okay.
next?
Yeah, we'll
so
discuss
we
that
can
on the next
discuss
show.
that there. Yeah.
I'd like to do one quickly, if I may start.
Yeah, yes.
And that is
Go for it.
mainly because this one was in my ones to watch like 2 years ago, but because of delays didn't come out, and then I switched it for a different game, which then got delayed and didn't come out. Gotham Knights from
The Curse
Warner
of
Brothers
Coleman.
Montreal, The Curse of Coleman, did finally come out this year. I was very excited for this, although this isn't a part of the Rocksteady Batman mythos type of games. It is from a studio that worked on one of the Arkham games, Arkham Origins. And I liked this idea that we could play an Arkham style game, but it is in co-op multiplayer. So you could play with a friend online, have one as Robin and one as Nightwing or Red Hood or Batgirl, and switch it up. And I liked this idea. And from what we saw, the Mr. Freeze level they showed off, it was interesting. That piqued my interest to make me want to pick this up and play it. Now, we've spoken about it on the show a couple of days before the game came out. They didn't really put out like a press statement or anything about this. They answered a question on the dedicated Gotham Knights Discord, but the developers came out to say, hey, if you're buying this on current generation consoles, the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, you will be playing this at 30 frames a second, which I know that's fine.
The only thing Sub-Zero was the frame rate.
I know, for instance, Tim, you don't have a problem with playing games at 30 frames a second. Dan, you're not a big fan of playing games at 30 frames a second.
I would rather pour bleach into my eyes.
Yeah. Me, I was kind of in one boat where I was the same as Tim, where I was playing games at 30 frames a second because that's generally what they were capped at on the last generation of consoles. And then once the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X came out, and I was playing more games at 60 frames a second or even higher on the PC, and then would go back to playing in 30 frames a second, it made me feel horribly, horribly travel sick. So it was like I adjusted myself. I got spoilt by frame rate, and now I can't transition backwards. So it's kind of like when you play, you used to play Tekken 3 as a kid, and then you start playing it again and go, oh, this plays great on the American ROM version of this game. And then you try to play it on basic hardware again and go, pal, what have you done to me with your refresh rate and hertz and things? And not good.
And your squishy screen of squishiness.
Yes.
Why?
So I thought that was a bit rubbish that they took so long to announce that it wasn't a 60 frames a second game, especially with the cancellation of the last generation ports of the game, so they could just focus on the current generation. Did actually save me a trick. I had a pre-order for this game on the PlayStation 5, which after I heard the news cancelled, picked it up on PC as well. I don't know if you've heard, I haven't gone back to check to see if it's improved, but the optimization on PC is not great. And plays really well to begin with through this kind of tutorial level when your character is indoors. And then when you go out into the open world, it goes, I can't do it. Doesn't want to show you any ray tracing. Really wants to chug and struggle, and had a lot of problems with that game. And the biggest offender wasn't optimized for Steam Deck as well.
Well, I mean, no one wants a suboptimal Massive Dick experience. But for me, what I heard about this was that part of the frustration was that it was missing some of the stuff that made the Arkham series so great, particularly the
like
combat.
Batman?
And apparently the combat was just
fine. It's missing Batman, kind of, but it has the roster of characters. It has Gotham and all this kind of stuff.
Batman minus Batman.
I think the big problem is where they try to, and when you're playing this game, it's picked up a very games of service type model to it, like Avengers, like Destiny, where you're picking up items and you're grinding and upgrading characters and stuff, but it's not very fun. And it does feel like they took a games of service model that they were working on, and then when Marvel Avengers crashed, this is all fan theory, this isn't confirmed. It feels like they were making a games of service, and then after the backlash of previous games of service games, went, oh, we should just turn this into a co-op and single player experience instead. And it didn't translate well, and because of that, there's some suffering of the gameplay of this game. The combat isn't great. As great as Arkham, the art style is very honed down compared to Arkham. And it just doesn't. It's not optimized well. It doesn't run well. It's I'm going to have to go back and check it out on PC again to see if it's been fixed at all. Yep, go on then.
Did they ever patch in the 4-player co-op to this?
I don't know, because I only played this on launch on PC and decided this needs more patching, and I'll come back to it later. But it's a big problem this year with a lot of large releases is that games are getting released at a state where you pay, if you're paying 70 quid for it, you are a paid beta tester, it feels like, in a lot of cases. You see it with Pokemon, you see it with the PS5 version of Elden Ring, you see it with like a lot of big games that have come out this year had a lot of problems to it, and it really seems like you're getting penalized for paying full price.
That was the problem with Gotham Knights, that they didn't, as you said, they may have designed it as a games of service game and had a bit of a hard time turning that ship around, but it should have been designed from the ground up as a 4-player co-op game, and they should have really leaned into that. And I think that would have been something that would have given it a different string to its bow to the Arkham games, that would have made it a worthwhile addition on top of it, that made it more of its own thing and also, you know, like more worthy of existing, basically. So yeah, I think it's a misstep to not have done that from the outset, basically.
Well, that was my quick one that ended up eating up most of the show. So let's move on to another one.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, so from a fake games of service to a real games of service, Tim, you've listed out Babylon's Fall.
Not a game I ended up playing, but a game just from seeing other reviews and stuff that I was intrigued and interested in. And it came to the point where I think we got it for free on PlayStation Plus. And I never even bothered downloading.
Did we?
Like to go to?
Wow.
I think we got like a Game of the Year edition or something, or it was, or maybe it was a stripped down edition. It wasn't necessarily the same as the launch edition.
I remember now. Yeah, they added. It was like the end game that.
Yeah,
like you got a fully graded. It's like Championship edition or something. And then if you wanted to go and play the proper story, you had to buy the actual game.
Yeah.
So aren't they? And isn't it already? Haven't they already said it's going to be shut down?
They've already pulled the plug on it, basically.
Wow.
I'm not sure if it's actually down already or whether it's actively happening. But to go from a game I was interested in to a game, you know, interested in possibly purchasing on day one, to a game that I couldn't even be bothered to check out to download for free, you know, ostensibly for free. That's a bit of a fall for me, a Babylon's fall, perhaps. But you know, Babylon's fall from grace.
Really? Shut up.
That's just that for me was one that stood out as I said, couldn't even bother to play it, no good at all. So there's not many games I've actually put time and effort into this year that I've been massively disappointed with myself. Even though it's been a weird year and a lot of people complained about delays, I actually think there's been like a steady stream of stuff for me to play all year, where I've generally had one big game that I've been making my way through and lots of other little games that I've enjoyed. So yeah, I've had 2022 was a good year for me generally. So yeah, not too many disappointments.
Well, I mean, if we were to fall from the gardens of Babylon down into the depths of hell, we could be talking about Diablo Immortal.
That is a sweet segue right there. I mean, I think Diablo Immortal, I mean, I think it's
terrible.
Not necessarily no. It's not necessarily the central mechanics of the game are okay.
You got a phone, don't you, Dan?
Gameplay. However, what makes it one of the worst experiences of 2022 is the blatant, flagrant, absolute gouging of microtransactions.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they've designed it in a way where it lulls you into a false sense of security through some pretty nice gameplay mechanics early on, some pretty impressive visuals. It's very polished, but that it is just one of the most cynical cash grabs out there. Yeah. And it just really makes me worried for what could happen to Diablo 4.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to talk this. I'm going to talk a bit more in our games to watch out for, and that doesn't necessarily mean they're games to watch out for because they're going to be great.
Watch out.
But you know, to me, this seems a little bit of a peek behind the curtains about how Blizzard
don't peek
likes
behind
to operate, and we'll see what happens if this And we'll see what happens if this merger ever actually goes ahead between Microsoft and Activision Blizzard. But
interesting part I thought with Diablo is I thought we were fairly positive when the game launched, although
Yes, you guys
admittedly
liked
there
it
was
quite a
some
lot.
very scummy microtransaction-y stuff. I remember I stuck with it for probably the longest out of us. I was really enjoying it. It was my commute game, but it got to a point where after a while there just seemed no point in having the Diablo experience on the mobile, because
yeah,
the levels, the further you get in, the levels get longer for you to complete them, and you require being online to play them. And it stopped being like a quick little game I could play on the tube, and became something that I should be playing at home. But when I get home, I don't want to play mobile games. I want to play big boy
Yeah.
games. So
yeah,
I lost interest in that game. But again, that and I find myself, I stopped playing mobile games for a long time, not just because the always online stuff, which is a big problem when you want to play your mobile games underground, but also the microtransaction stuff. I find myself very susceptible to the kind of the selling of DLC and progressing through microtransaction stuff. So I try to avoid it.
You're a bit of a
as
mug,
just a way
Coleman,
of
so
wow,
Thanks.
harsh.
So I just cut them out altogether to stop myself falling into that, because it's a very easy thing to go, I'll just put a little pound in here or £2 in there, and then before you know it, you've spent like 10 quid on a game that you barely play correctly, and it doesn't make sense. So I see the problems with this model, and I really don't like it. And I hate that they keep trying to insert it into AAA games as well.
Yeah. But see, Marvel Snap, which we may come on to in one of our future shows as well, I really like that game. I've played a lot of that game. I've got to the point now where I'm like, okay, I might actually give you guys some money, because I feel like I should give you some money because I really like the game and I've played it for hours. But there's a weird sort of tipping point. Like, I do think they're asking too much for the stuff that's of a reasonable price. Like the stuff that they do, the different seasons and stuff where you can, one for the moment is all black. Oh no, the previous one was Black Panther and Wakanda, and now it's Silver Surfer. And you can give them like £9 and you don't seem to get a massive amount in return. But the other things, like there is like whale fishing in there as well, which I don't necessarily want to support and appreciate. But at the same time, like I'm like, I do want to give you guys some money because I want to support the game that I'm enjoying and liking. But there's a real hard balance there between, and I think Diablo Immortal went on the opposite side of the scales by the sounds of what you're saying, where they didn't gain enough trust to go to the point where you're like, I want to give you some money for this game. It seemed like they wore away at the trust that you had until it was completely eroded. Whereas I feel with Marvel Snap, they've built up my trust to the point where I'm like, I want to give you guys some money now, basically.
Yeah. And netties are hurting for money, as we know.
Yeah. Really hard up.
Absolutely. But I think the thing with Marvel Snap is that it's only, you do get, I think, is it one card in a season, like 8 weeks before it gets in the general pool of being able to just get it randomly.
Although I haven't seen
but I don't think any of the cards
Spider-Man
have been
and Black Panther become available generally. I still don't have either of those cards that were the main cards from those particular. I can't remember what they call them. They're not seasons, but the season pass.
Well, I mean, I think it is
cards.
that they're locked out for a certain period of time of being in the general collector pool, and then I think after a while. But I don't think either of the cards have been particularly game breaking.
I don't know. Black Panther was pretty good with the right combination, but the whole game is kind of set around like there may be a short period in time where one card may be really valuable, but that's not going to always be the case. And I think it's cleverly designed that way. But I think it's a bit different when you're playing a game like Diablo Immortal, because you've got your one character and you're playing through and you're kind of grinding to build up that one character. Whereas in Marvel Snap, you can have various different decks, and then the one deck you like using isn't actually particularly useful at the moment. You can switch out to a different type of deck. And there are cards that are very useful for particular decks, but it's not crucial that you have any one particular card necessarily. So,
But I think with the difference between like Diablo Immortal, which is you hit a pretty hefty wall past which you cannot progress unless you start either sinking all of your life into it or throw money at it.
Yeah.
With at least with Marvel Snap, I mean, you kind of get the feeling that you can strategize your way out of most, and you start to learn to recognize, all right, well, if they're going to play that card, then
Yes.
that this is the combo I need to protect against.
Yeah.
So there's a bit. I don't think there's like an instant win card that they've put out there yet, and I think that's probably why it gets away with it a little. And I think there is also the fact that there's a lot of positive sentiment towards the Marvel franchise these days. So perhaps
I mean, I think that helps, but it's not like Diablo's an unpopular.
Well, it didn't used to be.
Thing, you know what I mean? It wasn't until Diablo Immortal anyway.
You got a phone, haven't you?
Well, I don't know. When Diablo 3 was coming out, you had the server crashes and the marketplace and all that. I had a couple of quick nods that I wanted to give. One was Naraka Bladepoint, which is another one that I was very, very pleased with when I was playing that game when it came to
That's
Game
why I'm
Pass,
surprised it's on your list.
I really wanted to play it. Yeah, and I'm only putting it on my list specifically for Xbox Series S. Because that is a fun, if you don't remember, it's a battle royale game where it's kind of battle royale for people who like hack and slash type games, and has a feeling like you're playing as a what's the name, Dynasty Warriors type character, and you can run around and hit people with weapons and find new weapons and level them up and customize your character and stuff, and it's all really fun and enjoyable. The problem with Xbox Series S, which was my choice for playing it on Game Pass, is that it looks like someone took the game and smeared Vaseline all over it because they had to downgrade it horribly.
Lets it slide in.
Yeah, to run on that hardware. And it was unfortunate because I was really enjoying that game, but it does not perform well on that console. And I'm assuming it's better on the X, and I know it looks better on the PC. It's just a shame that it has to downgrade in such a way to play that. And I don't know if there's any kind of hindrance to playing online matches, if your your distance has dropped or anything like that at all.
Why don't you just switch up to playing it on the PC?
Because I'd have to pay for it.
Oh, it's only on console on Game Pass, yeah?
Console. Or it was at the time. I don't know if that ever moved.
Maybe that's because it doesn't run very well.
Yeah.
It's a shame because I downloaded it but never played it. But yeah.
The other one was Saints Row, which I was kind of up and down on that game. I played it for a bit. Unfortunately, I bought it like the day before release, and they left all the reviews until the day before to come out. And that game is very dated. It has a lot of glitches and problems with it. And even though I don't know if the patch has come out now, but they're starting to update it. They're doing some big updates to it. But it seemingly killed Volition as a studio. That's now been kind of divvied up and spread out within different studios that are under the same kind of umbrella. So we might not see another Saints Row game.
Who will we get our massive purple dildos from now, Coleman?
Terry Soho.
Oh, Terry.
Yeah.
Good old Terry.
Wow, Terry. How's Terry doing?
He's all right.
He had terrible problems with Pars last time I saw him. So are they getting better?
But yes.
Looks like John Wayne.
I've got a feeling you're going to see that game pop up on some of the pay subscription and see what, PlayStation Plus or Game Pass or something soon enough, because that game cannot have performed well and I'm surprised they're doing these big updates to it.
I mean, hopefully if they patch out some of the bugs and maybe patch out more of the poo spreading, and I don't know if there was poo spreading in this one, but general things that weren't so good. Do you think it's a game that could be saved by patches?
I mean, I think part of the issue was as well, it's showing its age not only in terms of gameplay mechanics, but just in like what the sense of humor it has and the kind of the just the whole setup of the franchise. Perhaps it hasn't aged massively well.
I think the problem with Saints Row is they peaked. Like they hit the heights of what that game could do, and they should have moved on to something else, and they didn't, and that was a mistake. Like, there's a reason that Rocksteady didn't make Gotham Knights.
Cock Media. I'm going to call them Cock because it's Saints Row. Perhaps that was their plan.
They've completely changed their name now, Dan. You can't make that joke anymore.
But I'm going to Cock Media.
No longer Cock Media. Doesn't exist.
No? It's not great. I'm sure if you see it for a tenner, maybe you can get some enjoyment out of it. But It's not a £70 or £50 experience
No.
worth paying for. Should we give a little rest in peace for Stadia and then get out of
Oh
it?
yes, we have to. The worst of 2022. I think we couldn't crown ourselves without nodding, doffing our hat towards Stadia. Which, wow, it went
Poor
out
little
how
Stadia.
it would have wanted to, with a deafening whimper.
It's funny because when I
Join
tried it
on live.
and I had a quick go playing it
On live.
on my phone and played because they started giving them out for free. They gave up with the whole selling Stadia models and just gave them out with BT and Virgin and God knows what. I think I got it for having YouTube Premium. So they sent me the thing out, set it up, played it on my phone, got all the Destiny 2 gubbins set up and went, oh wow, I can play Destiny 2 which was novel at the time for me, at 60 frames a second. On my phone, and I was really enjoying that because it played a lot better than the PS4 version I was playing, and my PC wasn't really powerful enough to do that. Then I got a PC powerful enough to do that, and went, oh
And
wow,
there you go.
this Stadia version really crushes the blacks, and it's not looking great. So
Is Stadia actually
Well-
dead, or have they pulled the plug on it, or is it actually still live and working? Does anyone know?
they
Because
have
I actually got given one that I
provided
still haven't
refunds.
bothered to plug in and get going. But
I think it's still active, but they are doing refunds for the hardware and the
Yeah,
games
and
and the
software, and, yeah.
microtransactions. Like
not a good sign.
they are refunding everything on that game, so it will be gone soon. And if it hasn't
Yeah.
already, yeah, it was very surprised because when they announced it, I thought if anyone was going to have the clout to do this, it would be a Google or it would be an Amazon. And Google seemed to be all in on this, whereas Amazon weren't so much. And the Amazon one, like, what was the Amazon one called? That was tied into Prime.
Oh.
Did that ever come out? Luna?
Luna
Luna,
is Luna is.
Was that ever
is the name,
available in the
I think
UK?
It's in the States. I think
Yeah.
in some
yeah, I don't
selected
think they've rolled
markets
that
in the
out
States.
generally. But
I mean, I think the one thing the one thing that would be, a saving grace for the whole Stadia shenanigans would be if they will unlock the Bluetooth on the controller, because it's a very, very nice controller.
Yes, you're not
and
the
it would
only
be a
person to
shame
say that
for
as well, I
mountains
think,
of
yeah.
them to go and it would be a shame for mountains of these controllers to be needlessly turned into e-waste by many people.
yeah,
I hope they unlock the wireless connectivity in them, because it could be done via a software patch. One would
but
hope.
Google
So,
are very good at abandoning things and pulling the plug on stuff, as we've said before in the past. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
we
not
have.
at all surprised that they did this, basically. And if you remember, I spoke on the show about when I went to Develop Brighton and they were doing a talk there, and they literally were just starting to talk to developers about getting indie games on their I was like, you guys are a year and a half late for having this conversation with these people. Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, what's going on? So yeah, I don't think it was a well thought out or well conceived idea, basically.
Well, I think probably that's where we're going to draw a line under the worst 2022. Even though I've just remembered something that was truly terrible,
Oh,
and I forgot
what's
to
that?
mention.
Go on then.
Scorn. Man, that game had so much potential. But
Oh,
see-
I liked that.
We spoke about that on the show. I loved it
The combat
right up to the
ruined
point where there was combat, and I was like, oh, no. Now I see why everyone hates the combat.
Yeah,
Okay,
no.
I'm going to stop playing this game.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
yeah, I can go back. The combat was just so bad.
Yeah.
So bad it
shouldn't
ruined
have,
the game.
should not
Anyway.
have bothered with combat. It would have been an infinitely better
Nope.
game without any combat in it at all whatsoever.
Absolutely. Such a shame. Very disappointed in you, Scorn. Bad.
Scorning
game.
Scorn.
Bad. Yes.
Make
Anyway,
Scorn 2
we're gonna
without
stop talking
combat,
about
please.
this now, because I don't think they can make a Scorn 2. I really don't. If they do, something's very wrong with them. Anyway, we probably ought to finish this particular show because we've got several more to record. So, thank you for listening to this, wherever you will go, whatever date you are listening to it, sometime on and around the 16th of December, my spies tell me. So,
Yeah. Should be
happy
when it's out.
Christmas and all of that. We might have a cheeky word in your ear before Christmas as well, but, we'll see. So thank you for listening. And all that's really left is for me to remind you that I have been Dan.
I might have been Tim.
Yeah.
I have been chaos with a cold.
Cool. Chaos.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go. Thank you so much for downloading us. And until next time, dear listeners, doodle bye.
Oh, I love trash. Anything dirty or dingy or dusty. Anything ragged or rotten or rusty. Yes, I love
ears are quite welcome. For the podcasting goodness that you just heard, why not roll on over to BigRedBarrel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarrel.com.
I've been bird watching with 2 different people in different parts of the ground.
Whoa,
and I'm
whoa, what?
Yeah.
Dude, there's a world to save. What the hell are you doing
let's
bloody
go
getting
bird
your
watching.
ornithology on?
And
what the heck?
I mean,
Why?
Like,